Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1980s.
Cats take orders from no one.
This is episode 184, recorded June 23rd, 2021.
Gruesome Magazine.
I am your host, Jeff Mohr, and this podcast is about horror films released between 1980 and 1989. Each episode, my co-host Bill Mulligan, Crystal Cleveland, and Chad Hunt and I will tackle another classic or not so classic film from this radical, gory, influential, and gruesome decade. We're part of the Gruesome Magazine family of video podcasts, which includes Horror News Radio, the Gruesome Magazine podcast, Heroes and Droids, and Decades of Horror, the classic era, the 1970s, and the 1980s. Please subscribe, comment, like the Gruesome Magazine YouTube channel, but subscribe. You must subscribe. You must subscribe. All right.
I get uncomfortable when you do that. I'm sorry.
I know. It's the motionless, disembodied hand. Is that it?
Yeah.
That's half of it.
That's part of it.
And I'm just weird, right? All right. Joining me tonight is Crystal Cleveland, the living dead girl and co-host of the Gruesome Magazine podcast. How you doing, Crystal?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I am good. I'm good.
I'm like, so my dogs are going crazy downstairs. No one's there to corral them, keep them quiet. So I'm sorry. I apologize in advance. So not only do cats not listen to anyone, my dogs don't listen to anyone either. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a good mom.
Also joining us is Chad Hunt, comic book artist and co-host of Decades of Horror, the classic era, and Decades of Horror, the 1970s. Chad, you look marvelous.
Marvelous.
Yeah.
I wore this shirt into a little art thing that we do every year for kids.
Oh, yeah.
We get them together and show them comic art. I had this shirt on and just a goatee at the time, and one of the little kids asked, and I had these weird glass goggles on, and the little kid goes, "Are you Tony Stark?"
Oh,
yes,
sweet.
yes,
He was my friend the rest of the day.
Absolutely.
Oh, no kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's how I'm doing. First I was over there,
excellent.
now I'm over here.
Hey.
All right, and last but not least is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, and special effects guru, and co-host of Decades of Horror, the 1970s. I need to work on my transitions. How you doing, Bill?
Doing all right. I'm up in New York, actually visiting family.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm not around my 7 cats at the moment, but I normally am, and I know a lot about cats. So the idea of a possibly evil cat controlling people to do their will is just Thursday for me.
Yeah.
Just a regular day.
Yay.
I do not now, or have I ever had a
Hold
cat?
on, I'm writing
No.
your transitions for you. Hold on.
Yeah.
We can't leave this.
Yeah.
We can't leave you this.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Were you going to say you've never had a cat?
Never.
Wow.
And there's a reason for that.
Are you
Allergies?
allergic?
And don't write mails, but not only am I allergic, but maybe it's...
You don't like them?
I don't like them.
Nah, it's fine. I understand. I love them, but I understand.
It's
a thin line between love and hate.
I think people don't like cats only if they've never had one.
Or they
They
have
think cats
had
are
one.
Aloof
Kind of menacing,
No.
but they're
terrible.
not.
No. It's... They're devious.
Everything bad you can say about
This
cats,
movie
you
is
can say about
perfect
women.
for you then.
So,
Yeah.
do you like women?
Oh my God! What
I
podcast
love-
is this?
Yeah.
That's what I was like.
don't know. I'm a dog guy. I loved cats until I was about 5 years old, and the itching and the scratching and the watery
You're pulling
eyes,
on his tail, and he did what he
and
was
the
going to do.
asthma, and then my wife's even more allergic, and then
Well, of course. I mean,
the little buggers, like, they know who's allergic to them, and they go
Yes,
rub
they-
your legs and climb in
they
your lap.
do.
And
They do indeed.
all right.
Welcome to Cat Talk.
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking around for part one.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for part
Well,
two. Hit the
there's a reason
subscribe
we're
button.
bringing this up.
And Jeff's
There's
just
a
going
lot
to
of cats.
blow over what I'm saying, but I let him ramble on for 10 minutes about cats. Please, Jeff, proceed.
Are you done? All right. I will try to quit doing that. On this podcast, we'll start by giving some basic details of the film. I do have a mute button too. We are covering, followed by each of our impressions of the movie, and we'll move into general discussion about whatever, well, you know, whatever 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon hit us. So the movie we're doing is 1981's The Black Cat from Lucio Fulci. Oh,
Yay.
not Lucio Fulcio. Lucio Fulci.
Yeah, Fulcio.
I correctly spelled it in the next line. Written by Biagio, Proietti, and Lucio Fulci, loosely based on the Edgar Allan Poe story, The Black Cat, which I believe was published in 1843. So, you know, 140 years later, we're still getting variations on The Black Cat. And with music from Pino Donaggio. Cast include Patrick Magee, Mimsy Farmer, David Warbeck, Al Cliver, and Dagmar Lassander. Production company is Selenia Cinematographic. Filming locations, Buckinghamshire, England, and Rome. Filming dates, August 11th, 1980 to September 28th, 1980. And the release date was April 4th, 1981 in Italy. But we didn't get it around here till almost 3 years later, February 10th, 1984. And the synopsis: a professor with the psychic ability to communicate with the dead uses his powers on his pet cat in order to take vengeance upon his enemies.
Loosely based indeed.
Animus?
Yeah. So let's take a look at a few things here. Bill provided a couple of things that I think are kind of interesting before we get into this. Here's a here's one poster.
I like that poster. I think I may have to see if I can find that poster. That would go well in my house. Although I've never had a black cat.
Really? That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
They're my favorite.
I've had some sphinxes that would have been mostly black, but since they don't have any fur, they just have dark skin.
Yes, those are.
Yeah. So I have had a black cat. It just wasn't. Black.
They would have been black, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And a couple more.
There were some good posters, actually. I like all these posters.
Yeah.
I like that top one, actually.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure about that. Le Chat Noir.
Yeah, it's a little cartoony, but
Yeah.
I'd still put it on my wall.
The eyes are almost like the Cheshire Cat, right?
Looks more like a carnival ride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you're about to drive into its mouth.
My wife and I would be on that ride just nonstop. Like, let's go in the cat's mouth again.
Well, and Bill, it was nice of you to do this because I was reading about this, that there are so many versions of this story. I don't know which one of them actually it follows the story, but
I mean, this is really one of Poe's more popular ones. Telltale Heart probably gets the nod, but you know, all his things, most of his stuff is short. And the Black Cat story, the only part of the Black Cat story that anyone remembers, the two parts. One is, you know, gouging the eye out, and the other is the ending, the great ending. And that's what most of these versions have had, just that element, that one scary ending element. I want to put a word in for the one on the bottom left, the black and white Black Cat from I think it's 1966, very low budget. And it just feels like one of those low budget black and white roughies from the time that were like the sex films. They didn't have, there was no extreme hardcore porn. People got their underwear on, but it's just got a really cool style and a little bit gory for 1966 and a great ending. It's just a cool idea that people really respond to. And of course, the Lugosi Karloff version in the middle there, which is just an amazing film and has nothing at all to do with Poe at all. But there's just it's just one of those things that's gone with us. I guess we should warn we're doing spoilers, right?
Yep.
Always.
Yeah. We're doing a lot of spoilers. Well, the spoiler for the Black Cat is the guy walls up someone, dead or alive, and doesn't do his due diligence and accidentally walls up the cat in there too. And that's the big giveaway. That, yeah, never do that.
So, Chad,
Nope.
we're familiar with a couple of those, right?
Yeah, we've covered Tales of Terror, which was a great version of the Black Cat, I thought, with Vincent Price in there and Basil Rathbone and all those guys. Karloff and Lugosi's Black Cat we've covered too at Classic. What can you say? That's just a masterpiece.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times in Tales of Terror, they also mixed up, and this seems to happen a lot, as they combine Poe stories. So
Yes.
there's the Black Cat, but there's also, it's almost like a Cask of Amontillado.
Right.
Well, they
because of the walling up.
also wall up someone. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And in Two Evil Eyes, if I remember right, they sort of combined Black Cat and the Pit and the Pendulum.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's a weird one. That's Dario Argento's version of the Black Cat. So it's pretty nasty when we get our final revelation.
Yeah, some good Tom Savini effects there.
Okay. Well, let's go now to what we've all been waiting for. The taglines.
Did you say all of us?
What is this sugar skull background? That's interesting. It looks like fabric. It's fabric, isn't it?
I'm just trying something different. I don't know. I found it somewhere.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I like that. That's neat.
Okay.
Like
Taglines.
Taglines.
When you hear this cat breathing down your neck, start praying.
What? Okay, well.
But no, wait a minute. I think that was on the
yeah.
start praying. Before you finish your amen, you're dead. So don't even bother start praying.
Yeah, what's the point?
Yeah, why pray? There's neither bookend is allowing you to pray.
You feel the cat's hot breath on your neck, you are in a bad position, literally.
I feel like just the OJ trial on this one. When the black cat cries, someone dies.
Yeah. If it don't fit.
Yeah.
Must have quit. All right.
And I've seen this last one on many a roadside sign, like on a fruit stand or something. Flesh-ripping felines.
On the roadside.
Get them while they're still fresh.
If that were a pro wrestling show, and like,
hey.
Also flesh-ripping felines, like, hey, Martha, we got to go check this out.
Oh, that's hilarious to me.
Okay. Yeah. Seems like there'd have been more of these, but
too bad. Yeah.
I could have come up with a bunch.
Well, let's get to first impressions, and this one is Bill's pick. Bill, I have 7 cats. Mulligan.
Yeah.
Whole ones. 7 whole cats.
Well, let's not go too far. Let's see. There's been some that have missed tails and eyes. So surprisingly, the first time I saw this film was a couple days ago. I had never.
But it was
that is surprising. That is surprising.
Sometimes I suggest films to give me an excuse to watch them.
You watch them.
And luckily there was a pretty good version I could find, and I was pleasantly surprised. And I guess I shouldn't have been, because when I looked at where this fell into Fulci's filmography, it's smack dab in the middle of his best time. That 1979 to 1984 zone, especially just the 3 years, 79, 80, and 81, he was firing on all cylinders. He was producing some great stuff. So much great stuff that this one kind of fell between the cracks and hasn't really gotten its due. It's not as gory as The Beyond or Zombie, not as groundbreaking, and it's fairly straightforward. It's really more of it seems to me like the closest thing Fulci ever came to a Hammer film. This could have been a Hammer film with maybe a little bit more production value. Good cast, good music, well shot, really good cinematography. I was really pleasantly surprised. The story's silly, but if you're going to have a silly story, at least when you have someone like Patrick Magee selling it, I'll believe anything that comes out of that guy's face. Those eyebrows are just hypnotic. Everything sounds.
And we saw a lot of them, didn't we?
Oh, we sure did. And everything, the craziest stuff sounds convincing when Patrick Magee is going full bore crazy. He is just a ranting crazy man, dangerous. He may look like he's 104 years old and could be knocked over by a stiff breeze, but if he sat next to me on the bus, I'd jump out the window. That guy's just got that raving lunacy thing going, that angry madness. He does it better than almost anyone. It was just this. I found this to be very enjoyable. I don't particularly know if the story holds together. I'm not 100% sure who the good guy and bad guy is. The cat. I guess the cat wasn't really evil. It was just reflecting the evil of him, but they have a psychic connection. But
I had a different opinion. That's interesting.
Guy, I'd like to hear yours, because
yeah.
So, but I really enjoyed this, and I think if Fulci fans don't expect extreme gore, there's a couple of little shocks in here. There's a few that maybe affected me more than others, because when you see like a obviously fake cat paw gouging out obviously fake skin on someone's hand, I can relate. I've had that situation happen. We've had a few trips to the hospital in our 25-year adventure of being crazy cat people. I love them. I love cats to death, but there are times when their love can be a little rough on you. So, but as a film, I think this is really enjoyable and definitely worth seeking out for Fulci fans. And this would be a good introduction to Fulci. Give this to someone and they're like, okay, well, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Then hit him with the Beyond and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, kind of sandwiched by City of the Living Dead and House by the Cemetery too.
Crazy, yeah.
All right. Well, Chad, how about you? Have you seen this before, or what are your impressions?
This is the first time I've seen this. I haven't ventured too far out of Lucci's more graphic stuff, the zombie movies and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I'm always looking for new versions of the Black Cat, because I kind of, ever since we've covered so many of them, I'm kind of interested in the other versions that have been done. But this is a really, really good one. Like I said, there's a lot of the same kind of stuff goes on in 70s movies go on in this movie, where there's just long episodes or scenes of people just walking for a long ways, and this little sounds like ABBA music playing in the background. but usually that bothers me, and this had a lot of that in there. But while they're walking, you're kind of thinking about what's going on, so they give you a little something so that you can chew on it during those types of scenes. But I really liked Patrick Magee was scary. He was just scary. And the eyebrows looked like, I kept thinking they were going to pop off, and they just look creepy.
Crawl away.
Yeah, and I like the story too of the telekinesis and him. The cat, I guess, I like the end where the cat. It seems like the cat was dead, or because it showed itself hung on the wall drawing or whatever it was. So, so that was I found that an interesting story, that he would take over the mind of this cat to do his killing for him. And so that was a take on it that was pretty good. Still had the obligatory wall scene where they get buried behind the wall, which even that was done pretty well. And there's some really, really good scenes in here and shots in here that I like. When he was burying her behind the wall, how the light just kept diminishing.
Yes, that was a very cool shot.
Yeah, and I think she turned her face where you could only see her eye. That was, I think, or that was the last thing you saw. And
that did kind of fit the story, right?
Yeah, that was a great scene.
That really was. And Fulci doesn't get credit for being an artist. For a long time, he was the gory one of the Italian directors. And the man did have talent. Some of his films are maybe not worthy of that. He could just hack it out when he felt the need or needed the money. But yeah, that I was watching that. I was like, this is some good stuff here. That's a really effective scene. I'm glad you remembered that.
Yeah. But I enjoyed it immensely. It's one I'll go back and watch again for sure. But yeah, like you guys said, if you're looking for gore, it's not there. But it's still a good horror story. It's a good movie. Period. So, but yeah,
All right.
I had a good first impression of it.
Good.
Yeah.
Poe never dies, I guess.
Yeah.
Miss Crystal.
I like the way they had.
So this is the first time I've seen it as well. When I first started watching it, I was like, oof. Started off a little rough. I liked the shots though. But as it gets into it, the story is so much better than a lot of Fulci's other stuff. I was like, there's actually a lot of story here. There's way more than normal. So while this isn't his best work to me, it's actually really, really good. I really enjoyed it, and I found myself chuckling at some points and stuff, as I do with all of his stuff, honestly. But I also found myself looking at some of it going, that was really good. That was done really well. I loved the way that looked. I loved the way that was done. I love this, that, So my impression was that, this cat had died. And like he mentioned, that it had superseded death. And like the evil part of him went into the cat. And so, the cat was doing his killing. But by the end, he realized like they were still so joined. That's why he said the cat was then controlling him. Because he said, I couldn't help myself, much like it was kind of the opposite way at first. And then his evil side started taking over again because he's like, I can't control it anymore. So he was able to control it at first, and then he started losing control, and then it started controlling him. So
that's going to be his insanity defense.
Probably.
It's the cat, I tell you.
Because he did say, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it.
No.
He made me or whatever. So I did really enjoy that. I thought that the cat was just phenomenal. Now, I swear that the cat's eyes were yellow and I saw them green at a point. I know they were green at one point, and I was like, that's interesting. Now, it doesn't mean that the yellow couldn't, read green, maybe in the right light or something, but it makes me wonder if there was just more than one cat.
I think there was probably more than one cat.
I loved the way the cat would get angry and stuff.
I would love to know how they shot all the cat scenes, because I've tried to shoot cats in movies, and I wanted to end up shooting myself because they will not cooperate. The secret is you just follow them around with the camera, film everything they do, and then change the script to reflect what you got. Because getting them to do what you wanted them to do is hopeless. But I don't know. They really did a good job here.
The cat didn't do much though. And if you notice, like the cats, a lot of the shots of the cat could have been shot anywhere, because I got up really close and stuff. So that's kind of smart.
Yeah. At least the cat didn't look at the camera, which is something a lot of the actors that we see in these movies have never learned. So give them props for that.
So also what I thought was funny is the sound made me laugh at points, because they literally have like a wizard thing. It's like when I was listening to it, I was like, this cracks me up. When the cat did magic, like when it teleported, it was like, ring, ring.
Well, explain that to me. That's the one part I still don't get. That for the most part, it's very questionable whether there's any supernatural element to this at all. That this could just be, this guy's crazy, he talks to the dead, whatever. I mean, he's a very unreliable narrator, which is certainly true for the original story as well. But then this cat is able to teleport.
I don't think that the cat is real. I think it's a manifestation of his mind.
Ah,
So it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean that they can't see it, but it's still just a manifestation of his mind. So it does supersede the physical.
okay. All right.
Yeah. But that's just what I thought. I don't know. Like I said, typically with Fulci stories, I don't necessarily get this deep, but I was like, oh, okay, there's a lot here.
Well,
There's
what
a lot to digest.
I think, I don't know if we're thinking the same thing, but I thought the cat, he hung the cat some time
Yeah,
ago.
I was thinking that too. Yes, I
And-
wasn't
and-
sure, but yes.
Yes, and like you said, Crystal, I felt like he was manifesting this cat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you have something to blame it on other than himself. I'm
Yeah.
not. My hands are clean of this. That's
Well, and
what I
you
got
know
from it.
that serial killers
Sounds more Poe. Anyway.
a lot of
Yeah.
times when they're younger and stuff, they tend to abuse animals and things. So it even
This
kind
is
of,
true.
if you wanted to go even further, you could suggest that that was something that he did, you know, way back when, to kind of.
You guys
get all
went
that.
way deeper into. I just well, obviously a cat can't unlock the door, so this must be supernatural crap going on. That's all That's all the deeper I went. But
Yeah.
could have been Patrick Magee. I guess
Yeah.
he could have had the cat bring him the key, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That whole death
right.
was questionable. That whole death was kind of sketchy. The airtight door, that didn't look airtight to me. It looked about as airtight as a barn.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And then they're like foam in their mouth.
Right.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
So maybe you got. Did
Yeah.
anybody watch the trailer?
No.
Yeah.
Should I have?
Yeah. So in the movie, when they go back and find the bodies inside that,
Yeah.
supposedly airtight room, all we see is a quick shot of her face, all decayed and crusty looking.
Right.
In the trailer, you see a full body, and I'm like, I don't know why they didn't put that in the movie because it was grody. I mean, it looked good in terms of effects. I thought
It's the one Fulci-esque shot in the film
Yeah.
is that dead body, and that one looks like it could have come right out of City of the Living Dead. So yeah, I wonder if we saw an edited version. I wonder
don't
why
know.
it took so many years for it to come to the United States. I mean, that's a long gap. And is it just? I mean, his other stuff played here relatively. Maybe this one just didn't
Quicker.
seem extreme enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did see something about how so what was I reading? I forget where I read this, but that Fulci said, like the scene with the bed going up and down,
Yeah.
they said that was a direct ripoff kind of the Exorcist.
Mhm.
That
Okay.
somebody asked him, "What was that? How does that work? That doesn't make any sense." And Fulci said, "Well, I didn't want to do that. The producer said that's got to be in there and made me do it, so
Yeah.
I did it."
Yeah.
He wanted a bed shaking scene. And so
It
they had to
worked,
figure
though,
out
because
how to
worked,
fit it.
though, yeah.
It does.
It worked because
It
that's when he
does.
kills the cat, right? He kills
Yeah.
he apparently
Right,
kills the
right.
cat, and then we have this big, so that actually
There's some kind of supernatural psychic power blows that in. I
Right.
did it surprised me, but I went, okay.
Yeah. Why not?
But it wasn't his idea.
Yep.
So
it-
let's look at some
it's-
of the
I was just
Go
saying,
ahead,
this
Bill.
kind of, it's sort of funny. It reminded me a little bit of one we just did, Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, even to the point where, this supernatural force is causing guys to fall off of rafters and get either into a wood chipper or stuck on a bunch of spikes. Similar premise where people are minding
Yeah.
their own business, and then something comes along and causes them to wreck their car, fall into a wood chipper, get locked in a barn,
Well,
run out of air.
yeah, and you knew when. I mean, there's little things like that. Little, what's the word I want? Foretellings, I guess. Like so, when they go into that room and lock the door, or that down by the boats, you know that they're going to get locked in, right?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Something nasty is
Something
going to
bad's
happen.
gonna happen.
When the old drunk guy goes into that, whatever that building was, and off like on a side, they didn't even focus on it. You see all these re-rod or whatever it was sticking up. You go, well, he's falling on that at some point. How are they going to get him up there? Well, there he goes, climbing up there to get away from the cat. But it was
That's
cool.
what I do when I see rebar climb right on
I
top.
thought it was cool. I thought it was pretty cool.
It's so inviting. You just
Yeah.
want to dive right in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Pile of
inviting.
leaves.
So we've got some other. We've already mentioned some, but
Yeah, this was
that
I'm
we
saying
talked
his
about.
1919. No, that would be 1979. I don't think he was making films in 1919. It should have been 1979 to 1981. And just, I mean, look at that. Those are 5 films right there. You could just retire on your reputation right there. Zombie, City of Living Dead, Black Cat, smack in the middle, The Amazing Beyond, and then The House by the Cemetery.
You know what? And I think we've done all of those. We did Zombie on 70s.
Have we done The House
the
by
other
the Cemetery?
I believe they did it before.
Okay.
But we definitely should do the trilogy,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. That's an
The
amazing
Beyond is
cluster of films.
amazing. Yeah, Beyond is amazing
It is.
film. House by the Cemetery is probably the weakest of the Gates of
Probably.
Hell trilogy, but
And you know, I think
still
Crystal's
good.
right
Still good.
that the Black Cat is the one that has the most cohesive story, that actually has a, beginning, middle, and end, and is in some weird way probably the most traditional of narratively of the bunch. But that's a
and
hell
it
of a
makes
collection.
sense
Sure.
a lot more than some.
Well, I mean, The
stuff.
Beyond makes no sense at all, unless you're on heavy drugs. I defy
That's why I
anyone
was like-
to explain it to me.
it was
I think that's
the
why this
Mandy of its
surprised
time.
me. This
Yeah.
honestly surprised me because I was like, wait, hold on. As I was watching it, I was like, Like at first, it just seemed very typical. And then I was like, wait, God, there's a lot of dialogue. This is a lot of dialogue, huh? Oh, okay. And then, like, the whole story starts coming together. I was like, wait a second.
But yeah, and what you can definitely see his predilection with eyes in this movie.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, we see Patrick McGee's eyes so close up, you see the yellow
Yeah.
around the edge.
But it works well, too, because they keep flashing back to the cat's eyes, and cat's eyes are so inherently scary and
They're beautiful.
evocative, Yeah, they're beautiful and they're scary, and they're the last thing most mice ever see.
Have you known someone with the condition where they have I have, and where they're, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Were they what?
They look like cats. Where they have the cat's eye, where their pupils are.
Oh my gosh,
it's gorgeous.
never
And she had
seen
blue eyes, and it was
wow.
amazing. It was amazing looking.
I don't know if I would find that attractive or terrifying or some combination.
It's
of the two.
both.
Disturbing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's beautiful. I thought it was. It was beautiful to me. I was like, of course, I love all that. But she had a lot of vision problems. It actually is difficult because
I
of
would
the way.
imagine. I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we've talked a little bit, and maybe not everybody positively, but the composer was Pino Donaggio, which I immediitly recognized from because we talked about him in Don't Look Now. I remember. I think that might have been his first film, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this is impressive stuff.
Yeah, and a long association with Brian De Palma.
Mm-hmm.
So these are a couple of films. There's a few films we've done here, or will do. I like his style. I've noticed that some people did not like his work in this film. Thought it was too over the top, or I liked it. It's
I paid no attention to it. The music.
Which is probably good. Well,
I mean, I didn't. I was so into what was going on.
Yeah.
I didn't.
well, that's probably a good sign, right?
Yeah.
Crystal, you
Some
said
of it
something
was-
about it, right?
Yeah, some of it was kind of cheesy. I mean, it felt. Oh my gosh! I was thinking as I was watching it with the music. I wish I could remember what it reminded me of. Oh, wait, at points it actually reminded me of like Indiana Jones. Like it sounds very action, not so much horror. Which I don't know. I kind of dug.
I kept being stuck on the kind of intro strains that were sort of like acoustic, and they reminded me of some pop song from the late 60s or 70s, and I just couldn't quite place it. I was thinking like Donovan, or I don't know. I never did go and listen to them, but there was a few chords that were reminiscent of that. And as soon as I try to push it into that category, then it broke out into something entirely different. So.
Man, I love that Tourist Trap poster so much.
That is a good poster, isn't it?
I love that movie, but I love that poster. It's so creepy looking. Sorry, that was distracting, but I just keep staring at it. I'm like,
The Rifleman.
That's right.
These are all movies that have been done, but we could always redo. Well, Tourist Trap was 70s.
70s.
Harry
Yeah.
and Don't Look Now was 70s. Howling and Dressed to Kill, we could redo. They pretty much did all the De Palma films.
Yeah.
Because Christopher's a big De Palma fan.
Yeah. Justifiably so. His early stuff.
Mhm.
Another one of those artists that kind of had a bit of a decline later on, but there was a time there when every couple years there'd be a new De Palma film out, and it was always enjoyable.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the star of the film.
There we go. Awesome cat. Hey, I'll tell you something else. It's not the easiest thing in the
Cutie with
world
the
to
booty.
photograph a black cat. That's
I'll
one
bet.
of the reasons. It's one of the reasons why a lot of time people, unfortunately, black cats often end up at the adoption agencies. And if you're looking for a cat, obviously, I should not need to tell anyone that there's nothing superstitiously evil about black cats. They're just cats like anything else. Some of the breeds, like Bombays, are black is their normal color, and they are fantastic cats. A Bombay is an awesome cat. But black cats. Some people, they want to have photographs with their cats, and it can be difficult to photograph a black cat where you don't just end up with two eyes staring at you. It's actually kind of a cool look, to tell you the truth. But I thought they did a great job here. This cat was very expressive. I'm not going to think about what they did to get him to do that. Hopefully they weren't just pinching his tail or something. But
I don't know. I think that cat just seemed like an angry cat in general. I honestly think the cat just seemed.
Well, yeah,
he's irritated. Every time you see him, he seems irritated.
Yeah, he seemed. Yeah.
The only
he's like,
time
"God."
the only time I caught how they got him to do something was when he was opening the door to get to the guy who eventually falls on the rebar, and he's like lifting up that bar that they have. Pretty obviously, they smeared tuna fish all over one side of the bar to get the cat to go up there, because he was like grabbing onto it, but also his head was moving in a way that makes me think tuna fish.
Food.
Yeah. So which is good. That's the right way to get animals to do what you want. Feed them.
Yeah.
Beats electroshocks or.
but I that's interesting that you talked about shooting him. Photographing, that would be a word. Photographing him, and that sometimes, if you don't have that light right and get the gloss of the fur, it's just going to look like a black blob.
Yeah.
Right? And so having a lighter background, the walking across the roof here in this photo. Yeah. Anyway, the cat was pretty amazing. As much as I dislike cats personally, and I have nothing against cat lovers. I have
good thing.
I
have some of my best friends.
Some of your best friends have 7 cats. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I said this location too. This whatever Lancashire or it's so English. It's such a cool little English town, and it kind of reminded me when the David Warbeck character comes in. It just reminded me of Hot Fuzz. Like, these little towns are isolated from everything else. They got their own business. Everybody knows each other's shit. Stuff can happen there, and it's just a quaint little place with neat looking buildings and cool roofs, and this sleek little creature running across it and everything. Is just a really cool visual.
And they know
anything can happen in a town like that.
Well, and everybody knows your business is right. Everybody knows exactly who to send her to. Everybody knows about the Patrick Magee character. And everybody knows, oh yeah, the American photographer, she's here to,
Yeah, it's like being a detective is pretty easy there.
All right, so Patrick Magee, wow, what a career.
Oh Lord.
So we've got some shots from the film here, but I can't tell you how many times Chad brought up the eyebrows, but this shot it might rival The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for eye close-ups, switching from person to cat to another person. It's
and this
incredible.
Is one of his last roles. I don't know what he died in 1982.
Oh,
Yeah.
There was a Blood of Dr. Jekyll he was in. That
Yes.
Showing that was his last. Yeah, Black Cat was the one before his last movie. So.
And
The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Miss Osborne.
Yeah. Yes, I haven't seen that one. Oh, this guy was in so much. I mean, everything. He was in Tales from the Crypt. He was great in that. Right after and right before that, Clockwork Orange. He was great in that. So he went from Kubrick to Amicus. I mean, everything. Just
and
then
also
in between that, King Lear and the Trojan Women. I mean, this guy had a very theatrical style. I would have loved to have seen him in a play. Because
also in Asylum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
The other one when he's the mannequins of horror. That's a creepy one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've done some other films that he's in.
I mean, you go
and
through
now the screaming starts, and now the screaming starts. Yeah.
96 credits, and as you're going through, they start hitting you. Zulu, Dementia 13. I mean, just.
Wow.
A lot of great stuff.
The Skull.
And
Mask of the Red Death.
Oh, wow.
That's some great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we got to do on. There's several of these we were going to be doing on Classic Era, I know, eventually.
And he's I don't know, depending on which version you watch. I wrote an article for Gruesome Magazine about the movie Bloodbath, which has 5 different versions.
Oh,
and depending on which one you watch, he's in it. And his role, they kept redubbing it and recutting it. I think the final version American saw he's barely in it at all, but just amazing
that's
stuff.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. But wow, what a face!
Well, and his voice too. I mean, that English, the English, and then the I don't know. He puts that gravitas into and that hooded, kind of down look thing that everybody does, but he's so good at.
If you watch him in Clockwork Orange, he goes from a normal guy to kind of a sad, crippled person to a vengeful demon to absolutely out of his mind crazy. He goes through the full ride. A lot of fun.
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Yeah,
still holds up.
All I remember is no time for the old in-out mum. Just come to read the meter.
Right.
And propping the eyeballs open for the.
Yeah, you got to give Magee credit. He's in a scene with Malcolm McDowell, because Malcolm McDowell is in virtually every shot in the film, and more than holds his own, and actually comes across as scarier than Malcolm McDowell, which no easy task. Of course, nowadays, if I had to cast a movie where I wanted a Patrick Magee type, I would probably try to see if I could get Malcolm McDowell.
Yeah. Oh, he's so good.
Yeah.
So, the female
Mimsy.
lead or American photographer, Mimsy Farmer. So, what's everybody think about what she did, her performance, and I don't know. I can't think of anything else I've seen her
I thought she was
in.
good, though. I liked her.
Yeah, especially towards the end. She really, when things are getting down and dirty, she's really does a great job.
I feel like I should have seen her in more stuff, but I'm looking through and I don't know what it would have been. Yeah, I don't know. That name seems familiar to me. And I know she did some the perfume of the Lady in Black sounds giallo, but I don't know if it is.
Yeah. Is there a Suzanne Farmer? or Susan Farmer that was in Hammer Films.
I feel like I saw her in maybe some Roger Corman type things. Looking at her first one was Gidget Goes Hawaiian. Oh God.
Oh, I love the Gidget movies.
Do you really?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, yeah, she was in Roger
Moondoggie?
Corman's The Wild Racers. Okay. And Devil's Angels and Hot Rods to Hell. Okay, so she was in a lot of those juvenile delinquent type films.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
She was in.
Oh, she was in Four Flies on Grey Velvet. That's where I remember.
Yeah.
She was in one of Dario Argento's early films. Okay.
She did a couple other Italian films too. The one you mentioned, and then Autopsy. Perfume of the Lady in Black. So yeah. Chad?
Yes.
Mimsy Farmer? Mimsy Farmer?
I've never heard of her in anything, but I've seen some of the movies that she was in. Yeah, I remember watching the Gidget movies when we were kids too. My mom loved them, so we all had to watch them too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But I don't recall her in any of the movies that I've seen. But
well, she did. She had an uncredited part in that, but then went My Three Sons, The Donna Reed Show, The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet.
I don't even remember her there.
The Outer Limits. Have to check that episode out.
Here's a surprising fact about her. After giving up acting as a career, she now works as a sculptor and has worked on cool. films in the special effects department. So she's worked on such films as Beauty and the Beast, Guardians of the Galaxy, Wrath of the Titans, and Pirates of the Caribbean. So
that's cool.
Yeah. That's...
So she's
she
still
had a talent.
in the
yeah,
business.
She's still in the business.
Kind of, yeah.
Which is nice that, you know, sometimes when you're used to playing, obviously she was playing a lot of the girlfriends of juvenile delinquents and stuff and everything. When you age out of that role, sometimes it's hard. You've been typecast. It's good to have another talent you can fall back on and still stay in the business. Might be more rewarding, actually, than the acting part.
It says here she got her name from Lewis Carroll's Jabberwocky. Mimsy.
I was wondering about that.
All
Mimsy goes to
where the
Gross.
goes, yeah.
I thought she was fine in this.
I did too. I thought she did a great job. I kind of wondered at the beginning who would think to pick up a microphone, but then not, but she picked it up for some reason. But I don't know. Maybe that's just one of those things that just stuck out to me and aggravated me. Why is she trying to find this guy? But it was, yeah, she did a great job, I thought. Like
favorite,
Jeff said,
I think,
especially at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Scotland Yard dude, I thought he was hilarious. He was awesome. He was my favorite.
The David Warbeck.
David Warbeck.
He was great.
Zombie too, yeah.
He was in Zombie. He was in The Beyond, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And this is the film, and I'm not at all surprised to see that this was the case. When I was watching him in this, I was thinking, boy, this guy should have been in the running for either James Bond or The Saint.
Yeah.
Because he's just got that, and it turns out he was. He was. When Roger Moore was picked, apparently he was one of the several actors in the running, and I could see him doing that. He's got that confidence, smooth style, great voice. He looked like he was having fun making this movie.
Yeah.
So no surprise that Fulci turned to him again in The Beyond.
That's one of those. That's an interesting scene too when he shows up in town. He rides in on the motorbike.
And then he gets the ticket. See, this was actually one moment where I was like, this is actually really funny. And it's translating well and it's working. So, okay, that's good. Sometimes you miss that, I think, with Fulci.
I thought he had a good chemistry with everyone else in the film. Just very, a real likable quality to this guy. And apparently was a nice guy too. I've seen some interviews where, before he passed away, unfortunately, I think 97, but was definitely one of those actors who was not at all afraid to talk about his days of making low budget horror movies, and seemed quite jolly about it. And yeah, seems like he would have been a real fun guy to talk to.
He sports that turtleneck like a pro.
He does.
Yeah. Not everyone can pull that off.
No.
I thought for sure. I couldn't believe. Yeah. Well, he didn't die.
Or he got his scene where
Yeah.
the cats were jumping on him.
I thought he was dead. I was kind of shocked that he had died.
Well, they sure acted like it.
Yeah.
Did I watch this movie? I don't know.
No, they made it. I thought he
totally
was
made
dead
it
too
look
until he shows up again in his
That's right.
weird little sling. So, what do you know about Dagmar Lassander?
You know, I forgot to include her in the but she's done some cool stuff. I mean, she did a Mario Bava film, Hatchet for a Honeymoon. So that immediately puts her in my good graces. And then she did a I think a Lamberto Bava film. So Mario Bava's son made a really terrible movie called Devilfish. It's got nothing good to say about it, but she's in that as well.
Oh, she's in The House by the Cemetery as well.
Oh, that's so okay. So wow, she did a Mario Bava, a Lamberto Bava, and two Lucio Fulci.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. If she'd gotten an Argento, she would have run all the bases there.
Collected the whole set.
She was good in this. Apparently, that fire scene, which looked alarmingly unsafe, was in fact alarmingly unsafe.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see that. Apparently, there was some problems with that, but there was the old. They assured her it was completely safe, as they told her to run down the hallway, the burning hallway, into the burning room.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I would really fire
gag. That's it. Now, but let's talk about that. That's a hell of a fire.
It is.
Okay, I thought.
And I'm wondering. I'd have to watch it again, but it really felt like they made a convincing mask or something of her face and had it look like it was really on fire.
Yeah,
there were quick shots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Usually, it's the guy's head's wrapped in 3 feet of wet bandages and everything.
Well, and the scenes too, and maybe this is obvious to you guys, but I read that the scenes where her arms are flailing, that was an animatronic thing. That was like it was a
good job, because I've seen
giant puppet kind of thing.
I've seen some bad ones where it just looks like a marionette. It's like, oh no.
Well, it looked like somebody totally freaked out.
Yeah. Of course, whenever they do the deep dive out of the window, they always do like an Olympic dive. Like they jump out and just flip over. I'm like, the French judge gives them a 10, which they almost never do. It's amazing.
Anyway, I thought she was worth bringing up. And there's one more. Al Cliver.
Okay. I didn't include him either. What did Al Cliver do?
He played the blonde-haired cop.
Oh, okay.
Sort of the poor man's Robert Redford look, kind of with his hair.
Yeah.
And he's in a bunch of things too. But what I was reading was so this is in England. So most of it, a lot of the actors were English speaking, but there's a few Italian. And I don't know if Al Cliver is Italian, but he has somebody that dubs him all the time.
He was born in Egypt.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah. That doesn't mean he wasn't Italian.
So he had, and he had like the same guy dubbed him all the time, and it sounded like it was an odd sounding voice to fit with him, and I cannot think of the guy's name now. Drawing a blank. I should have wrote it down.
He's still with us, and boy, you're right. I should include him because he was in Zombie. A bunch of those, Rome 2013, 2030, the kind of Road Warrior ripoffs.
Demonia.
Sort of 2020 Texas Gladiators. I love these movies that combine Escape from New York with the Road Warrior, and there you go. White Cannibal Queen. Oh, this guy has Zombie flesh
Zombie
eaters.
flesh eater.
He has a career to be made proud of. That's good stuff. Yeah, he was fun. I would have liked to. I would like to see another movie with those two characters, just solving mysteries in this horrible little English town.
Yeah, Warbeck and Cliver were the. Okay. I don't know. Any final comments for this film? Anything we haven't talked about? Bill, you did mention the cinematography, and I think this was sort of like Sergio Salvati is sort of Fulci's cinematographer. Is that correct?
I don't know that for sure, but if he gave me, let me see. I'll look up
City of the Living Dead, The Black Cat, The Beyond, House by the Cemetery. At least for that period of time.
For that period of time, it looks like he was definitely. Boy, he's got quite a few here. Everything from Puppet Master. He did an interesting mix. Ghoulies 2, Cellar, The Beyond,
Crawl Space.
Oh God, Crossface, the Psychic.
So, anyway.
So he did a lot of stuff. I thought the cinematography was terrific here, but especially it's a simple thing. Obviously, if you're making a movie about a cat, you should have lots of low angle gliding motions and everything. Might be obvious, but they pulled it off, and I just thought the composition. It's a nice use of wide angle.
Mm-hmm.
Just solid stuff. Really, this is a well crafted film. I feel like low budget films back then were better made.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think that there were way fewer low budget films.
Yeah.
Like micro budget. But this is to me.
Thanks
for having. Oh, you're welcome. having
I always ask a question and then interrupt and start talking. And
then. What was I saying?
Low budget cinematography. I can see it just flying away.
I thought you started with something about low budget. I thought
Into the ether.
Oh my God! Maybe I need to see a doctor. It just flew out of my brain. It just flew out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not the only one. That happens.
They got things that keep your jaw shut so you don't talk. Well, anyway,
no, a solid thing. I just think back then, maybe it's just that when we see these low budget films and we're impressed by them, you realize a lot of the craftsmen, the people who work on these, this isn't their first rodeo. They've done big films, bad films, but you got to keep food on the table. And Cecil B. DeMille's not on the phone every week telling you to shoot a film, so you shoot what you can, but you bring that level of professionalism to it.
Mm-hmm.
But they were, nowadays, a lot of the low budget filmmakers, I think, grew up on low budget films. This is all they know. Which is really unfortunate, and I would say for anyone who wants to shoot films, become a student of films. There's no excuse. Go on Netflix, go on Amazon, start with some good silent movies. I know this sounds ridiculous. Watch them. Just follow. Go through the 20s and the 30s and the 40s. Watch how the styles change and how some of the really talented filmmakers of today will maybe refer back to those film noir films from the 50s, and how some of the, those old-fashioned westerns that you don't give two rats' asses about anymore were really astonishingly well made and composed. This is a well-composed movie. When the camera's moving, there's a purpose. It doesn't look boring. Every frame doesn't look boring. It's well made. And again, that's not the reputation Fulci has, but it's one he deserves.
I agree.
Okay. I agree too. I like Fulci films. Sometimes they're pretty chaotic as far as story, but they're always visually not just interesting, but wowing almost.
Now, he did make another cat film, Cat in the Brain.
Oh, well.
And that is one of the strange,
speaking of
strange. Yeah.
Even for Fulci.
Even for Fulci.
I remember talking to Santos about that one once. All right. So we do have some feedback. We're done with the Black Cat. And first one is from episode 181, Warlock. And I'll
Oh,
let
no.
Chad will read this one, right? 'Cause this is
Uh-oh.
from our buddy.
Which one?
The top one
Oh,
under feedback.
That one. That when you said that's my buddy, I kind of got confused. Dallas Nostromo says, the first time I tried to watch this film, my wife made me turn it off. Shortly after, he spit the tongue into the frying pan, or maybe it was when he took that lady's eyes out. Either way, I'll try again someday when my wife isn't around. Then she'll never know what great fun she missed.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
Thanks, Dallas. You're just trying to pretend to be a nice guy here for everybody else's benefit. We know the real you. We know the real you.
He's right about those two scenes. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
Unless
next
you're married
one.
to Crystal, that can be a hard sell sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
The next one is episode 182, Mad Men. Why don't you take that one too, Chad?
Yeah.
Dallas Nostromo says, never seen this film, but Bill's mention of the Travis Crabtree song says a lot about the movie.
Hey.
I'm sure that was a funny joke that I said. I have no recollection of it whatsoever, but okay.
Well, you remember the song is in the movie.
Oh, I've tried to drink my out of my memory.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Anybody feel like tackling? We have a pretty long one from a guy named Midnight Geek.
I will try this one. I'll try to speak foul. Try to get the New Yorker in me.
Fire away.
After learning about this film, okay, so this is Midnight Geek. After learning about this film about 6 months ago, even though I lived through the 80s and somehow managed not to be aware or even accidentally rent Madman, I decided to give it a try after hearing a podcaster say how much they enjoyed it and how it was a wonderful trip down nostalgia lane. All I can say is no. See, we're the podcasters you should listen to. I began watching with absolutely zero expectations, and sadly, the film couldn't even reach or maintain that level. The longer I watched, the worse it became. A low budget is fine with me. New and inexperienced actors is fine if it's enjoyable. This film was not enjoyable to me. The cast didn't work. The smart Alec punk bugged me. The script dialogue didn't work, and the music didn't work. All I can say is I made it to the hot tub scene, and even beer couldn't help me watching past that point. There was no chemistry, and the playing of what feels like a full 4-minute Carpenter's knockoff song was the last straw, and I turned it off.
Yes.
I'm listening to the podcast as I write this, and the hot tub scene was not funny. It was cringeworthy, and I just couldn't go on.
But I appreciate that. God, that makes me. Oh, God, I love that Venom. It makes me so happy.
He does say this goes on. This is like a novel here, but he's got some good points. But I am glad that Chadman Mars has some fond memories of it and can find it enjoyable. I truly am. And if there's others out there that feel the same and find it a fun time while watching, I'm happy for them as well. LOL. Yeah.
That sounded
I'm
like
happy
a
for them,
sarcastic LOL.
but you have awful taste. Awful. Horrible.
I'm honestly not this negative about films in general, and I'd really hoped I'd be adding an unknown rough gem to my collection. Unfortunately, not the case. All that said, I recently discovered your channel and podcast and website, and I love it. Lots of content to go through, which I think will be quite fun and interesting. And so he gives us a suggestion. So here's a person who's not just complaining and also throwing out compliments, but gives a suggestion. I like that. I should have looked first, but I thought of this. I'd be very interested in your opinions of another film. It's from 1982 called Humongous. I have the Ronin Flick Scorpion release, and it looks great in my opinion. It's another film that I just became aware of a few years back, and in contrast to Madman, I absolutely loved this film when I saw it. It's another lower budget film, but this one, for whatever reason, really connected with me. What it lacked, it made up with atmosphere and at least a few characters that you like and root for. It does take a bit for things to get started going, but I was invested enough and interested to see where the story went and how it all would play out. So I'm not a low budget slasher hater, LOL. I think that's an honest LOL there.
Yeah, yep. Me too.
I'll try to search your back catalog, see if you've covered it. If you haven't, I think it would work perfectly for your 80s Decades of Horror segments, and I hope that the crew would find it a more enjoyable experience on the whole than the Madman film. Anyway, sorry for the rant, LOL. You guys and gal are great. Really enjoyed listening and watching your content. Very glad I found your channel. Stu, a.k.a. Midnight Geek. P.S. Chad, I love your shirt.
God, he likes you, Chad. Or is this Stu? Chad Stu? I mean, twice
we
he's
told
called
him he
you
had to
out.
change his
Twice.
name to-
Have we ever seen Stu and Chad in the same room?
That seems
Chad
suspicious.
likes Madman, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
but he
that's true.
said
Man.
he was
Man.
glad that Chad liked it. He's like, Chad, you do you.
Maybe Chad's got like a split personality. One side that's good and hates Madman, and one side that's evil and loves Madman.
So just so Stu or
If
Mr.
that's
Geek.
your name.
Mr. Geek, we do listen, and I have tried to find a streaming version of Humongous, but I haven't been able to find it. So we'll keep our eyes
Keep our
open
eye
for
out
that.
for it, yeah.
And sometimes Bill can find stuff I can't find, and we'll see what happens. All right, we have one more quick one here as time runs out. Sean Parks.
I thought it was about to say my movie. Oh God.
Yeah, that too. Sean Parks says,
Hey, Shawnee.
yeah, absolutely. Haven't started this. This is again about Mad Men. Haven't started the episode yet, but if anyone slags the song in this, so help me.
Uh-oh.
Legend of Boggy Creek, New Year's Evil, Madman, Mutilator, all movies with randomly memorable songs of varying quality. I think
All
we
the way
pretty much
from bad to
snagged the
terrible.
song.
Yeah,
I think
we
we
Yeah.
pretty much
slagged
slagged
it
the song.
seriously.
So
Yeah.
sorry about that, Sean. I understand though
Yeah.
how we get to love stuff like that though.
Yeah. Guess if it hits you at the right time.
All right. Well, thanks for all the people that contributed feedback. This is it for this episode, but every 2 weeks we'll be focusing on a specific film released between 1980 and 1989. Next up, we have one chosen by Crystal. Crystal hasn't let us know if she's picked it.
I picked a few things, but since Bill picked this and he's never seen it, there's something that I've been wanting to watch that I haven't seen, and it's on Amazon. It's Bad Taste.
Oh.
You okay with that, Chad?
What? What's wrong with that? What?
No,
nothing's
it's
wrong
all right.
with it. I had it picked way up ahead of that, but
You
go for
did?
it.
That's okay
You
though.
did?
No,
No,
we're doing
that's
Bad
okay.
Taste. We're doing Bad
Are
Taste.
you?
That's
I
good.
didn't know. I didn't know.
It's okay.
Is it in the chat? I didn't see it.
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
it's not in the chat. It's on the schedule. He just goes in, and when he thinks of
Yeah.
something, he puts it up way ahead.
Oh.
And if
yeah,
somebody
we're-
else
we're
takes
doing
it, that's fine. So
Yeah.
Bad
Are you sure?
Taste.
Yeah, we're doing
Yeah.
Bad Taste.
See, Chad and I think a lot of. I was like, I've been wanting to see it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
of course, Chad and I think alike with this.
Okay, well,
I'm sorry though. I feel
No,
bad,
no,
but
we're doing Bad
it
Taste.
is on Amazon. So
Yeah. That's good.
yes, it is.
I also had Scanners and Dreamscape, but those are on HBO Max. So
Oh, Bad
This is
Taste
actually-
is a winner. That's a winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are all good choices, but yeah, we'll go with Bad Taste.
All right, so there's plenty of ways to stay in touch. Please,
I hear something. I hear someone talking. I'm like,
Oh, hey guys, wait. Mom, Dad, we'll be on in a second.
oh,
Sorry.
that's what it is. Okay, sorry.
They're like standing 2 feet away from Bill,
I
and
was
he
like-
doesn't get.
I thought Chad had was a ventriloquist. We're good.
I didn't know who it was.
Which one of you's got a ghost in the house? I can hear.
He's been-
voices nobody can hear.
Chad's been watching Magic and practicing.
Oh God.
Oh, I love
Well,
magic. Oh,
So yeah, please leave
You can-
feedback. We
You can
love
barely
feedback.
see my mouth move.
Good, bad, whatever. And please subscribe, to our Gruesome
Yeah.
Magazine YouTube channel.
we're so close to we want to have 1,000 subscribers, and we're like 7 or maybe like 10 away. I don't know.
I'm
All
going
right,
to tell
get-
10 of my friends. You tell 10 of your friends. Bill, you tell 10 of yours. Jeff, 10 of yours. We'll be millionaires before you know it. See?
Yeah. See. Yeah.
Uh,
You want to be famous?
no. Catch us again here in 2 weeks for another great horror movie of the 1980s. There's only decades of horror can do it. Say something, guys.
Good
Good night.
Something.